Hello and welcome, this is Mouse Gunner and we're back with some more Neo Scavenger, and in the last video we finally discovered what the source of the glow was, and it appears to be a city of some type. We are in a little bit of a dire situation, mostly from a hunger standpoint. I don't really have any food source. Granted, I'm not necessarily starving, but it would be nice to find more food. Let's go ahead and continue to move. I'm starting to regret not eating that guy that we killed earlier. Okay, we can move on top of this hill, which ends up going into forest, which is not going to be where we want to go, I don't think, but we're going to go into the forest anyway. Okay, we've got another one of those scary guys in black. I am going to move over this way. We've got these houses here. Let's move up in there and see what we've got. So just an empty whiskey bottle, it looks like. This looks like it is scavengeable, but it looks like, as the text said, that it's going to be harder and harder to find places that we can scavenge. And that is because of the proximity to the city. So, let's see on the map. We're still not anywhere near where we need to be, so we're going to end turn. It is still morning here. We've got time. Let's go up on top of the hill so we get a little bit of vision. Oh, there we go. I think this is the city here. So I am going to start moving over that way, even though it may be dangerous. Looks like we've got something going on over here. Okay, let's go ahead and end the turn. Yeah, there's the glow right there. Okay, so I'm just going to head over to where the city appears to be. And it looks like this is a good spot. Okay, you're near them before you see them. People, lots of them. Pushing branches aside, you're presented with the city you saw from afar. A hybrid between shantytown, refuge camp, and RV park skirts the massive walls to the city. Everywhere you look, people navigate the winding, muddy roads, carrying supplies, patching holes in shelters, or arguing over property. Smoke from 1,000 camp stoves and barrel fires trail upward, and the scent of cooked food elicits a gurgling from your stomach. Well, yeah, I am kind of hungry. Nary an eye pays any attention to you, just one of the dozens of ragtag corpses shuffling in from the wasteland. Beggars, customers, hopefuls, prey. Welcome to DMC's Sprawl. I'm going to assume Detroit Metro City? Maybe? Okay, well, in any case, let's go ahead and confirm. Okay, well, we have something here. Let's go there. All right, let's take a look at what's there. We've got some water and a soda bottle. Well, that's not really going to be of any use to me. What I want is to get into the city proper, and I don't know if it's going to allow me to get into the city. We'll have to find out. This tile is not passable. So there's the wall there. We have to find a way into the wall, it looks like. So I'm going to go... Oh, and there's... I'm guessing this is the lake there? Okay. So we still haven't found a way in. Aha! Navigating the twisty maze of shacks and tarp shelters, Detroit's massive walls stand as a constant backdrop to the east. Easily half a dozen stories high and probably almost as thick, the city walls are an impressive sight to behold. Armed towers bristling with surveillance arrays stand at regular intervals, keeping watch over the sprawl, and likely the city within. Before you, giant vid screens on the 3 gatehouses flash instructions about pass requirements and threat levels, as flocks of people stream into and out of the gates. You take your place in line on the right, with the others entering the city. When you reach the front line, a sinking feeling overcomes you. Heavily armed guards in full combat armor are checking attendees with some sort of scanning device. You're pretty sure that whatever these other folks have to get in, you're missing it. When it's your turn, the guard stops you and turns to a monitor installed in the wall. A message reads, "Device not detected and entrance denied." With the efficiency and compassion of an assembly line worker, he directs you away from the line, back outside. Unfortunately, getting entrance to the city may be trickier than just showing up. Back outside, you cross the muddy square and stop to survey the area. Where do you go now? Would anyone in the sprawl know about the cryo facility? You're startled when you notice a man has been watching you. He's wearing a long brown coat and matching hat and is leaning on a walking stick. From this distance, you can almost see the glint of his eyes below the trilby's brim, though it's probably just your imagination. He takes his time approaching you, and as he nears, you notice that there's heavy, I'm not sure what this word is, something on his face. I'm going to assume, we'll find out. It reminds you of one of those old portraits you see in a history textbook. Some kind of makeup, maybe? I'm not sure. Folks call me Hatter, he says, matter-of-factly. I think we may be able to help each other. Come with me. Hatter's office is in the husk of one of those flophouse hotels you've seen crammed between high-rises in a busy city. It even has the old marquee hanging precariously from the cornerstones. Several floors up, armed guards watch over the street from missing sections of the building. Hatter acknowledges the men at the door and leads you through a surprisingly clean lobby to an old-fashioned elevator. I have a client, he starts, pausing for the cage to rattle shut, who collects heirlooms. He speaks louder over the motor. He compensates well enough, in fact, that I'd be willing to part with a DMC visitor's pass in exchange. The elevator clanks to a halt, and the door rattles open, revealing a dark room lit by video screens and old lamps. Stepping off the elevator, it feels like you're walking into a control center built into an antique store. Baubles and relics crowd the walls and tabletops, while video screens and computer consoles cast a bluish tint on a handful of armed guards. Hatter crosses the room to sit at a low, broad desk facing the elevator. There's a lake. He pulls a Warren Road atlas from a desk drawer. About a day's walk northwest of here. Okay, northwest. Okay, gotcha. Inside a building there is a silver urn. He pages through the atlas to a map of Michigan. My guess is that you know a thing or two about getting around out there, and maybe this could be your ticket into the DMC. He pauses to look at you. Interested? So we can tell him no, we can say accept the urn, or we can use something's fishy here. We can use our trapping skill. So I'm going to use that trapping skill. We have it, why not? So currently select response, something's fishy here. Something doesn't add up. You're no seasoned mercenary, but you're sure any fixer worth his salt is going to be careful with whom he contracts for work, and a visitor's pass can't be cheap. So there's no way this is just a cakewalk test. Plus, Hatter approaches you. Nobody walks into a town out of nowhere and gets that kind of welcome. Something doesn't wash here, and it's making you edgy. I don't like this, you say, stopping short of sounding threatening. Sounds like someone's trying to set me up. That gets Hatter's attention. You hear the creak of leather as a guard tenses. He says, leaning back into his creaky chair. Turns out maybe you are worth the extra attention you seem to have garnered. He looks down at a blank spot on his desk, considering something a moment, and starts talking at it. Your, let's call him, employer had a particular interest in you. He leans forward and starts interacting with the security council, interested enough to open this urn contract with express instructions that it only be assigned to you. Said I'd find you trying to enter the DMC. Said he'd front the cost of the visitor's pass if I got you to do it. He finishes a keystroke, then gestures to the wall monitors. One of the monitors switches to a view of this room, with a cycling timecode in the lower corner. After a few seconds of fast forwarding, it switches to a real-time playback. There, standing where you are now, a black mass about the size of a man talks with Hatter. The detail seems to be glitchy, as if there were some dark-colored static distorting the signal, but only around the figure. What's with the censoring, you ask? Dunno, he says. Look normal in person. Must be some sort of EM interface. The discussion is short, punctuated by the figure handing Hatter a small object, then leaving. As a rule, I don't disclose client info like this. He stops the video, but you seem like a decent type. More to the point, resourceful. And while money talks, I'll take a competent operative over cash any day. He reaches into a drawer and pulls out a small black wristband. Pass is yours. I'll keep my ear to the ground for any info on this Reaper fellow and let you know. And hey, he stays before letting go of. I'm sorry. He says before letting go of it. Maybe you come around again when you're looking for some work. Okay, that's nice. So it looks like we've got ourselves our tracking bracelet, which I'm guessing is how we get inside. Wow, it's worth a lot. 500. And then we use this to re-enter Hatter's office. I'm guessing that we just have to go to the spot where his office is, and then this item is just something that we can use. It's kind of the way the game works as far as how you interface with things. All right, well, I think we're good to go there. It looks like that trapping skill came in handy, as it appears we managed to get out of a fetch quest, perhaps. Okay, so it looks like his house or his base is here. Well, that's nice that it's marked. Let's see if it's marked on the map, too. Doesn't look like it, but now this is marked Detroit Megacity. Okay, well, let's go inside. I mean, might as well, as we now have the means to do so. And it looks like this is the gate, which it is indeed marked. So let's. Oh, well, first we have to end our turn. Okay, so we're now into midday here. Navigating the twisty maze of shacks and tarp. I think this is the same message we saw before, but I'll just go ahead and skip through this bit. When you reach the front of the line, a sinking feeling overcomes you. Heavily armed guards, blah, blah, blah. I'm confused. Didn't we get the item? Maybe there's something I have to do with that item. Let me see. Maybe I have to have it in my hand? I'm not exactly sure how I'm supposed to use this. I mean, it's in my pack. I don't understand. Oh, I put it on. Duh. There we go. It's a bracelet. Okay. So this is the same thing. Confirm. At the front of the line, the guard motions you closer. A moment of pregnant silence precedes a satisfying chirp, and the monitor flashes. Visitor pass, blah, 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 authorization. The guard ushers you forward, and you begin down a longish stretch of empty corridor lined with harsh xenon lighting. Beyond the opening at the other end, you see throngs of activity and the flicker of busy signage, eclipsed by passing people. Oh, wow. So we've got a whole new interface here. I'm assuming this is just a scroll around. All right, so we're at Gate 1. And we've got the Detroit Savings Bank. We've got Hagerty Health Clinic. We've got the Red Gnome. We've got the Concrete Forest Apartments. And that's about it. Now, I'm going to guess the whole value of things is a currency, and that currency is how we're going to probably do things in the city. Because in the normal environment, that stuff is not going to really matter. But let's go to the Detroit Savings Bank, see what we can find here. We did have an account number in the beginning of the game, but I don't remember what it was. So if it's something I have to input, I would have to review the first video. All right, Detroit Savings Bank turns out to be a surprisingly tricky business to find. It has a presence for certain. Self-service terminals are near ubiquitous, winking at passerby from countertops, ad walls, and alcoves. But there's little more to these terminals than signage, lights, and a screen. There doesn't even appear to be a place to dispense cash, nor insert a card. After a bit of walking, though, you eventually find a Detroit Savings Bank micro branch with more than a screen. You're outside the Detroit Savings Bank, Gate 11 micro branch, a secure, climate-controlled booth, slightly larger than a covered bus stop, sits on the sidewalk here. It has the requisite self-serve terminal on the exterior, but looking through the transparent walls, there appears to be an actual human teller inside. So we can enter the booth, we can threaten the teller, that sounds like an awesome idea, or we can wait for the teller to leave. That doesn't seem to be a good idea. Let's just enter the booth. You pull the transport door open and step through. Inside, you're greeted with bright colored light and dry, tepid air. The teller, a presentable-looking young woman with straight brown hair, looks up from her terminal warmly. "Hello," she says. "Is there anything with which I can assist you today?" Okay, well, I'm gonna show her... Pretend to be a mentally retarded patient. Okay. Ask about the cryo facility we could do. Seems to be that pretend to be a mentally retarded patient is our main thing here. Outside of the other options. So, I'm gonna go ahead and choose this. Confirm. Begin explaining your situation. Starting with the cryo facility, your amnesia, and the clues you followed to reach this point. She feigns interest as you tell your tale, but at the first opportunity interjects. "I'm sorry, Mr. Kindred, but do you hold an account with us?" I think so," you consider answering, but she continues. "Or perhaps you have some form of identification." "We'll show my bracelet." You hold forward your bracelet, plaintively. "Oh," she says, switching subtly from attentive to deflective. "I'm afraid we can only service clients who presently hold an account with Detroit Savings Bank or citizens of Detroit opening new accounts. However, you're still welcome to use our payment network and any participating vendor. Your mobile device can both send and receive payments." She indicates a brightly illustrated placard on the wall, depicting overwhelmingly inoffensive young people conducting transaction in an unnaturally happy fashion. You smile and thank the young lady and head back outside. The humid city air seems palpable after the crisp environs of the booth. Okay, so we could threaten the teller. That seems like a really stupid idea. We can wait for the teller to leave, and I'm gonna guess that we would try and hack the terminal or something, which we have no ability to do. We could wait for the teller to leave and just see if it accomplishes anything. But that might be something we want to come back to later. So I'm just going to leave the bank for now. Okay, so let's see what else we got going on here. So we've got the Red Gnome, Hagerty Health Clinic, and the Forest Apartments. So... I am going to go to either of these locations. The reason I'd go to the Hagerty Health Clinic is to see about if they know anything about the cryo facility. I'm going to assume that we could also get medical attention here, but I have no need for that. So let's see about the Hagerty Health Clinic. Hagerty Health Clinic is a pretty busy spot. Its proximity to gate... Is it 11? I guess I was 11, not gate 1. And its mercenary attitude toward... clientele ensures that it has a steady stream of business from both inside the DMC and Sprawl. The double H assists, or I can't make out this word. The way that this font is, I don't know what that word is. Okay, whatever. Oh, as it's often called. It didn't look like there was a space there. As it's often called, offers a wide spectrum of health services. Those include diagnostics, cleaning and dressing of wounds, therapeutics, including nano-robotic suspension treatments, and prescription drugs. There's also an on-site augmentation clinic where patients can elect for prosthetic enhancements. These highly desired services may require special permits in addition to the significant price tags. As you cross the street, you can't help noticing the activity on the rooftop. The high-pitched whine of turbines mark the coming and going of hover vehicles, spraying water from the landing pad and a fine mist that rains around the building. A large proportion of the vehicles appear to be unaffiliated private ambulance services. You huddle your shoulders against the spray and duck under the brightly lit awning. Staggered automatic doors forming a crude airlock shoots open as you approach. Okay, let's go ahead with the Hagerty Health Clinic. Enter the lobby. See if we can find anything. Inside the lobby looks a lot like any other clinic. There are banks of attached seats covering most of the floor and counters for both receiving patients and dispensing pharmaceuticals. Dominating the right wall near a hallway and elevator bank is an LED sign displaying the currently served customers. Letter and number combinations update at random intervals as nurses escort patients to and from the room. You head over to the counter and get your waiting number. It isn't long before the LED lotto calls your number and you're led away for a consultation. What services do you require today? So, we don't have any cash, so we can't do any of these things. Rehydration and micronutrition therapy, that'd be nice. Upstairs to prosthetic augmentation procedures, that's not going to be within our... and then we can buy some painkillers and other things, it looks like. Let's talk about the... Oh. I guess we're just going to leave then. I was hoping that this would be talking about the cryo facility, but they're just using the graphic here to do yet another medical procedure. So this is just medical procedures, which is fine. If we were dying, this is where they want to come. Okay, this is not really taking any time, though, to go through, so I figure I might as well. And I think I'm going to go ahead and put a cut here, but in the next video, we'll take a look at the rest of the city and see what we've got. So we've got two other locations, the Red Gnome and the Concrete Forest Apartments. It's possible I might have to go outside the city to do things that would get me money, unless we can figure out something to do with this Detroit Savings Bank. It might be one of those things where I just have to wait and try and access the terminal. As I said, we had an account number in the logs of that cryo facility, which I did read in this playthrough, but unfortunately we're not able to apparently tell the teller about that. You would think, showing them the bracelet, that they would go, oh, you're Mr. Kindred, let me look up if Mr. Kindred has an account with us. Oh, you do, here's your money, or something, but unfortunately that is not the case. So unless we can find some other kind of identification or maybe access the terminal ourselves, whether or not that would be a good idea, I don't know. I'm going to assume that there is law enforcement agencies, and breaking into the bank after hours is probably illegal, and at worst it will get us kicked out of the city, probably removing our pass, and that's at best, and at worst we'll get killed. So maybe not the best idea. So yeah, I'm probably going to go to these other locations, see what we have in the city, and we'll go from there. But in any case, I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This is Mouse Gunner, signing out.